Today, we are going to discuss antenatal care. This is a very important topic when you deal with patients. It is also important to know the theory as questions on antenatal care are asked for university exams. Antenatal care is a systemic supervision of a woman during pregnancy, and it comprises of history collection, physical assessment, that is both general and obstetric examination, and the advice or counseling given to the patient. Aims of antenatal care are to screen high-risk cases, to prevent or detect and treat any complications, to ensure continued risk assessment, to provide ongoing preventive health care, to educate the mother, to discuss the place, time, and mode of delivery, to motivate about the need of family planning. The objective of antenatal care is to ensure a normal pregnancy with delivery of a healthy baby from a healthy mother. So, what is this normal pregnancy? Criteria of a normal pregnancy are delivery of a single baby in good condition at term with fetal weight of 2.5 kg or more and with no maternal complications. We already saw the components of antenatal care are history collection, physical examination, and counseling. We'll discuss the first two components, history collection and physical examination, as antenatal assessment later. Today, we'll see antenatal counseling or advice. General advice given to all antenatal women are to ensure regular antenatal checkups, to report any unusual symptoms, and advise them to come to hospital in case of painful uterine contractions, sudden gush of watery fluids per vagina, and active vaginal bleeding. Specific antenatal advices are antenatal diet, exercise, immunization, and antenatal hygiene. Antenatal diet. Why is diet so important? To maintain good maternal health, to provide optimum fetal growth, to improve the strength and vitality for labor, and to ensure successful lactation. Thus, diet during pregnancy should be adequate. Remember these points when you plan a diet. Pregnancy should be light, nutritious, and easily digestible. Diet advice should be given considering the socioeconomic condition, food habits, and taste of the individual. Diet in pregnancy should be the woman's choice. The RDA is higher during pregnancy and lactation. An extra 300 kilocalories energy and 10 gram protein is needed during pregnancy. And there is double demand for iron, calcium, and folic acid. This is the same reason why we supplement iron, calcium, and folic acid in pregnancy. Antenatal exercise. Low impact exercise can be continued throughout pregnancy as long as the woman feels comfortable. Limitations of exercise during pregnancy. Exercise should be regular and of low impact. Exercise should be avoided if there is any symptoms of breathlessness, fatigue, or dizziness. Exercise should be done in a cool area without becoming uncomfortable. Prolonged supine position or compression to uterus should be avoided. Any injury or fall also should be prevented. There are some conditions where a pregnant woman cannot exercise. Those are fetal growth restriction, cardiac or pulmonary diseases, cervical insufficiency, vaginal bleeding, hypertension in pregnancy, and risk for preterm labor. Exercise during these conditions can be dangerous to mother, baby, or both. Immunization during pregnancy. Live vaccines like rubella, measles, mumps, varicella, yellow fever are contraindicated in pregnancy. Rabies, hepatitis A and B toxoids can be given as a non-pregnant state in case of needed. 2 doses of TT is given for all pregnant women. 0.5 ml IM is given. First dose at 16 to 24 weeks and the second dose is given after 6 weeks interval. Women who had TT immunization in recent past are given only 1 booster dose in the last trimester. Antenatal hygiene. All these come under antenatal hygiene. Usual daily activities can be continued, but excessive, strenuous work should be avoided, especially in the first trimester and last 4 weeks. Average of 10 hours sleep is needed during pregnancy, especially in the last 6 weeks. Constipation causes backache and abdominal discomfort. It also causes hemorrhoids, rectal bleeding, and fissure. It should be prevented by regulation of diet and taking plenty of fluids. Daily bath is recommended in pregnancy. Clothing should be of a loose-fitting, skin-friendly material and comfortable to wear. Constricting belts and high-heeled shoes should be avoided. Good dental and oral hygiene should be maintained in pregnancy. Breast engorgement causes discomfort during late pregnancy. A well-fitting brassiere can give relief. Travel by vehicles having jerks is better to be avoided. Rail route is preferable to bus route. Travel by air is safe up to 36 weeks. Air travel is contraindicated in cases with placenta previa, preeclampsia, severe anemia, and sickle cell disease. Alcohol and smoking can cause fetal maldevelopment or growth restriction. Generally, coitus is not restricted during pregnancy. But with coitus, there is release of prostaglandins and oxytocin, which may cause uterine contractions. Thus, in case of increased risk of miscarriage or preterm labor, coitus is to be avoided. Almost all the drugs given to mother will cross the placenta to reach the fetus. So, over-the-counter medications should be avoided, and all medicines used in pregnancy should be taken only on prescription. Those are the antenatal advices you give to your patients. Hope they will be benefited. Thank you.